Hi folks, I'm Matt and welcome back to my top 200 games of all time. I say 200 now because I'm on number 200. Now, I say 200 games of all time, but these are the 200 games left in my collection that I'm going to rank, and of course I would think they're the best of all time or else they wouldn't be in my collection. Alright, so let's start off with number 200. It is Abandoned Ship. Abandoned Ship is a fun little dice selection game where you have a bunch of mice and they're trying to get off this ship. And so you're giving a little token randomly every game that has 3 colors on it. And you're trying to get all, or at least one, of those colored mice to the top of the ship. But you don't want to be first. The first mouse off the ship gets squashed and he dies. It's only second, third, and fourth place that qualify, which I think is really neat because there's always this mystery about, oh, is that the color that he is, or is that the fake one he's trying to push forward and number 2 is who he's trying to push in? You never know. And so it adds that level of mystery for who is what color. Now there's a lot of games that are very similar to this. This is one that I really like because of course dice selection is a fun mechanic in board games, and you're basically just selecting die and moving that colored die that corresponds with the colored mouse. And there is a wild die in there as well. There is a lot of strategy there. It's hard to get too many points in this game. There are certain spaces you can go to get these little cheeses. They can give you, like, I believe it's 1 to 3 points, and believe me, every point counts in this game. So sometimes you're choosing die to just either throw people off about what your colors are or to get, you know, certain cheeses on there. Really fun game, really neat, great filler game, and pretty cheap, I think, to get if you want to pick up a copy. At number 199 is the auction game Storage Wars. I'm a big Storage War fan. I used to watch the show all the time. And last year when I was on parental leave with my newborn twins, this is the show I binge watched while they napped. And I remember thinking, did they make a board game for this? And yes, they did. And it's a phenomenal board game too. Now, I don't know if anyone who has not watch the TV show should get this, because I'm sure there are other great auction games out there, but if you're a fan of the TV show, this is worth picking up because each person you're picking has a specific 1 or 2 items that they are going to be, it's going to be worth double if they get it. And you're each delivered X amount of chips every round that you're you're putting them into one of the 4 storage bins that you're going to be bidding on later on in the game. Now these tokens can be high priced items or items that will count double for you, or they can be trash, garbage worth 0, or broken furniture, whatever, which is going to cost, you know, money to move it and get it out of the bin. So you're going to be losing money there. Or there's one grand token that scares everyone in this game. I'm glad it's in the game, called black mold. If you put black mold in a bin, that means all the items in that bin are worth 0, zilch, nada, nothing. And it's really fun. It makes for a lot of paranoia in those games. You're like, man, he put all his tokens in that bin. Is it a trap? Or is he trying to bid me up to get that bin, you know, for me to, you know, that's the name of the game, right? Running up the bid on other people and then leaving them hanging with a bunch of trash where you raise their bid. It's a mean, cutthroat game, but that's what makes it kind of fun, to be honest. Really love this game. We've had several different plays through it. I've kind of added more tokens to each round just to make it a little bit more exciting as you're placing money and bidding on the bins, but it is so much fun. The game is so much fun. Absolutely love it. Storage Wars, my number 199. At 198 is another dice chucking game called Dice Town. Dice Town, you're chucking dice and trying to get the best player's hand. You have kings, queens, you know, aces, I think jacks, 10s, and 9s or something, and you're trying to get, you know, the biggest poker hand with your dice. Every round you're rolling the dice and you're keeping one, or if you want to pay to keep more, you can, of those dice out on the floor. And so the hands are always changing, and whoever has the best hand is going to get one of the biggest prizes, but even if you have the most of 9s, 10s, jacks, queens, kings, whatever, you're going to get one of the bonus, first and second wheel. Now, if no one ever gets anything, which to be honest, with all the expansions, that's impossible now, there is Dr. Unlucky who can give you something for your terrible, terrible rolls. Although it's never come to that. This is a fantastic game. We got a reprint just recently, and it's come out with, I believe, 2 or 3 expansions now that are all fun. Now, this past year we didn't play with all 3 because I was playing with some new people, and I played with 1 expansion. I didn't want to overwhelm them too much, but there's the Cowboys and Cattle or something in and then the oil one. I can't remember the names off the top of my head, but they're all worth getting, and they're all a lot of fun. The base expansion is pretty fun too. This is just a nice, if you're looking for something light, fun, including dice, and I like the Western theme too, I won't lie. Everything about this game is so much fun. That is why it's on my list at 198. At 197 is a new game to my collection. It is Back to the Future Back in Time. Now, there was a lot of Back to the Future games that came out around the same time as the anniversary came out. And I made my mind, I said, I'm going to get one of these. I don't know which one. So I looked into all of them, and to be honest, the Back in Time one just looks the best. I mean, the artwork looks good. The gameplay is a lot of fun. It's a co-op game. It takes place within just the first movie, but that was the best movie, and that's the one people know the most. I played this game a couple of times, and it is so incredibly stinking fun. The first time we played it wrong, it was a little too easy, and I was like, something's wrong here. And then I realized halfway through we weren't playing something right. Again, don't play games with me the first time through. I'm most likely, there's a 50-50 chance I'll probably get it wrong. But anyway, we corrected that about midway through the game, then played a few more with it, and man, it is great. Biff is just aggravatingly, he's like the kind of AI protagonist, or not the protagonist, but he's the guy who's trying to just take apart your plan. So everything Biff does is awful. You're having to knock him out just to stop him, just for one round. But you're also having to clear out other obstacles too. You're having to get parts for the car to make it work, the DeLorean to make it work. You got to get the DeLorean in position at the right time during the rounds. Each round that car is moving. And then you're also trying to get your parents to fall in love. The round timer of how you can lose the game is very interesting. It's the picture. You're flipping it over and suddenly everyone's fading from the family photo. It is so thematic and so well done. I'm really shocked that if you would have told me we're going to do a co-op game with Back to the Future, I went, how? How would you do that? And now, fantastic. Now that I see it all put to there, wonderful. Well, I love the artwork too. They didn't go with actual stills from the movie. And yeah, I'm mixed. They could have done that and I'd have been fine with it. But the artwork they chose was really fun too. So this is just an incredible fun game. I have an old friend of mine who was in my game group who was a huge Back to the Future fan. And if he was still here, I know this would be his #1 game of all time. Plus that DeLorean car. Sweet! At number 196 is another new game to my collection. It's Myrmes. I guess that's how you pronounce it. It's about ants. Yeah, it is worker placement as you're going out there establishing or strengthening or expanding your pheromone trail, I guess. You're also building up internally your colony, getting larvae, getting army ants to battle insects out there to get more food or more abilities in the game. And the board looks kind of busy and kind of ugly, and that's why for years I just kind of avoided this game. In fact, I didn't even know what it was about. I thought it was about mushrooms. I never even noticed the ants in the artwork till this year. And I was like, oh, okay, about ants. I'm all about themes, so I was like, well, let's look more into this. And so I got it, and it is so much fun. It is so much fun. Like I said, there's little ant miniatures, plastic minis that you can use. Of course, there's cubes in the game too, but the game just, there's so many different strategies and different ways to win. And of course, I like where there's many pathways to victory. You can be going out there trying to dominate other, insect species, get your army up, or internally just building up your own colony, or establishing a really wide pheromone trail where you can gather resources out in the woods. It's really a lot of fun, and to be honest, a game about ants, establishing a colony of ants, you think, how can that be fun? Well, check out Myrmes. It is excellent. At 195 is a game that's been in my collection for a couple of years now, and it's so much fun. It's Rhino Hero and Rhino Hero Superbattle. I say both of these because I both have in my collection. I'm just not going to get one or the other. If I had to choose between the two, Superbattle is probably going to win because it is a little bit more detailed, a little bit more structured, meaning you keep playing until that whole set of cards or that stack of cardboard collapses to the ground. And in one of our last games, we almost got every card placed. I mean, it was just a magnificent, I couldn't believe, I kept taking pictures like after every turn because I cannot believe this is still standing. I must have like 20 something pictures on my phone that night. But it was a lot of fun. Now, Rhino Hero, the base game, the other, it's kind of a little separate game, is still fun, and I still would recommend that as a filler game or children's game as well. Superbattle is all the above and just amped out even more. So if you had to pick one of the two, Superbattle. But the reason reason I like the regular base game too, because it's kind of like Uno, but you're also stacking and making a singular tower and moving the Rhino hero up it, which is a lot of fun. And for my games, we've added like I think 1 or 2 cards to our hand just to make it a little bit harder and to make that tower a little bit higher. But either one you get, Rhino here is just a phenomenal, the big hit. One of my favorite hobby games to play. I almost got the big box edition, the big giant edition on BGG, but man, $100. I've played it before and I love it, but I don't know if I can spend $100. But you know what? Hey, at least I looked into it, and that should tell you how wonderful Rhino Hero is. My number 194 is the Doge Ship. In the Doge Ship, you're rolling these dice to establish where the limits are to how many actions you can perform for free. Now, you can take actions outside of those dice, but you're going to have to pay for it. And money is kind of tight in the game. When is it not, right? And what you're doing is you're trying to get the right resources and right gameplays to buy and purchase the pieces to the ship, and you're building the Doge's ship. Now, every round there's particular colors or designs that he likes, and that's what you're trying to go for to get those extra victory points in the game. Ways on generating money, because you're going to need money. You have to do that as well. And there's a lot of aspects to this game that I absolutely love. The components look great. I actually love the artwork. This is another very cheap game that I think gets overlooked a lot, because it to me, in my gaming group, Doge Ship is so much fun. I think I said this one time, Star Wars could even retheme this and call it Jabba's Barge Ship and do basically almost the same thing in a way. That would be a weird reprint of the game, but every time we play that, we think about, are we building Jabba's sail barge or are we building the Doge Ship? Either way, it's so much fun. This is the life of what nerds think about, I guess. At 193 is another new game added to my collection, and it is Sherwood Forest. I remember looking at Rio Grande Games website, looking at worker placement games, and I noticed Sherwood Forest. Now, I've always wanted a Robin Hood themed game, and this one looks fun. And as I read the rules, I went, is it going to be that fun? I was almost regretting my purchase after I bought it. But then we played it a couple of times, and no, I don't regret it at all. It's a fun game. It's a game where you are putting your thieves across the road, trying to rob the carriages, give to the poor. You do get bonus points from giving your money to the church and stuff. But you're also using it to buy men, to buy supplies, and you're also using your little meeple men to get information. Like, you can peek and see what carriage is coming in next and where is it traveling to, because where you hide out on the road matters. Now, also, it's about deal making too. You make deals, and you have to at the beginning, because no one's that powerful a crew to take down a carriage by themselves. And they're like, hey, we need to get together and take out this carriage. And, I'll tell you what's on it. You get the victory points, I get the money, or vice versa, or we'll split it all, whatever you can. And of course, you have to, there's nothing binding in these, but if you try to screw someone over, which no one has yet, because everyone's too afraid, but if you screw someone over, it kind of is allowed. Now, the rules on how the negotiations and how things break down is really over-explained in the instructions and not very good. That's the one thing probably holding this back from rising up higher. But I've seen a lot of interpretations online, and we just made our own house rule over it to kind of simplify the process, because to be honest, it's all about getting the information, getting what you do with your money. You can be cashing in for victory points the whole time. Maybe that's what you want. Plus, the game rewards you for placing all your workers out early. Something that you shouldn't do, right? You need to look and see what the pulse is. Where's everyone going? What's everyone doing? He went there to get information. Now he's hiding out in that lane. Should I bring more people and try to jump that, that cart before he does? But if you place all your players out first, you get a victory point, which in a low-scoring game like this is big. And I love it because it speeds up the game a lot. Putting out your men, you may not get the best of the bunch going down, or the best of the things going on that round, but it does make it an enticing and interesting strategy to put your lay your cards out right at the very beginning and show everyone where you're going to be and what you plan to do. I really like this game. This is another game that you can get really cheap, I think, especially secondhand, and it's absolutely a blast, a big, big blast. Sherwood Forest. Number 192 is also a new game to my collection. It is Chocolate, or Chocolat Factory as I call it. Chocolate Factory. You are, of course, running your own chocolate factory. And this is pure engine building as you're improving the track and the options on each track and what you can do on producing candy. And you can always change up your factory at any time. You know, you could be producing caramels or sugar candies or boxed chocolates or whatever your theme is, stripes or chunks or whatever. You can refine that chocolate later on as it goes. The pieces look wonderful. The artwork is beautiful, and the gameplay is incredibly fun. Getting majorities at certain candy stores is huge points at the end of the game. I didn't know how huge. I remember the first time we played, everyone was going for those quick points, and they were about to lap me, but then I ended up getting majority in most of all but one of those candy stores, and I came back. I beat him by a few bits, but it was a close one. But I like that. That's the long-term strategy. You know, you're trying to sell chocolate to these big factories that pay off at the end. Not now, but at the end. And if you can do that, you can come back and win. So it's anyone's game is what I'm saying. Now, I missed out getting the mini expansion for this on their website. They said they had some available. I went and took an order. They said, oh, looks like we already sold our last one. I was like, doggone it. So I can't remember what it was called, the Chocolatiers mini expansion. I'd like to play that. I'd like to add those cards and see what that changes to the game. I'd like to see an expansion to this game too. I think it's a lot of fun, and you cannot avoid having chocolate at the table when you play this game. You will crave chocolate. I mean, the artwork and the pieces look edible too. Everything about this game is so much fun. Chocolate Factory, my number 192. At 191 is also a new game. It is called Macroscope. Macroscope is a great guessing game. You have this sheet or this picture on this drawn on plain paper that is covered with all these little cogs or whatever, and you're trying to guess what that image is before too many cogs are revealed. And it's almost in a way like Pictionary in a way, except you're kind of revealing certain aspects of the picture and you're trying to guess it first. And you think, well, Matt, when you run through that whole stack of pictures and then the game would be repetitive? No, not necessarily, because there's a lot. I don't know how many, but I would say over 100, close to 200 of those pages, and they're double-sided, that you're going through. So, I mean, you could be playing this for a very long time, and yeah, there may be some things you may recall later on, but I don't think so. I don't think that happened that much. There's a lot of replayability here. I was shocked when I got this. This is one of those miniature market, please get rid of these games for like $2 bucks. I think I got for $3. Great deal. You can still get it for like anything like $10 is a good deal for this. It's so simple. It's so much fun. It can be for kids. It can be for adults. I played with my nephews and I played with my adult gaming group, and they absolutely loved it. This was one of the only reason I picked it up because it kind of sounded interesting, and it was $3. I said, maybe I'll throw this away for $3. I won't need it. But we played it, and it was one of the biggest hits. Obviously, of that $2 range, I think this may be the one that's ranked the highest out of all of them. You know, some of the games were okay and they're fun, but this one just really surprised me. And who knows, it may continue to surprise me because it does get to the table quite a bit more times than some of the other games I've mentioned. All right, folks, that's it for now. But hey, come back next time and I'll go over some more. See you later.